Hello, it's Christina Matthew. Today we're going to be talking about communicating with families here at Devon Forest Elementary School. These are the topics that we're going to be going over today. Here's just a quote to help us frame our thinking. Remember, our goal is working together with families. The research says that keeping it positive with families helps our students achieve more. It improves their motivation in school, their behavior, their attendance improves, and they have regular attendance. It also helps students have a positive attitude about school, as well as improves their academic achievement. So we're not saying that we can't have difficult conversations with parents or that we cannot set goals for students or with students and families. But the overarching theme is that to keep it positive, not every single interaction with parents should be negative. So even though sometimes you might have to call home and give some concerns to the parents, it's important that not every time that we're communicating with that parent, it's about something negative. It's also important to have two-way communication with families. These are some ways that we can have two-way communication. And by two-way communication, I mean it's okay to have some silence in the room when you're having a parent conference. It's also okay to have some silence over the phone. I know sometimes when we call or we're having a conference, a lot of times the teacher's leading that conference. It's also important to have the parent either parrot back to you what you've said, also give some input from them. They are the child's first teacher. The students, that is their parent. So allowing them to also talk in that conference is just very valuable. Here's some different communication strategies. Initiation is important. At this time in October, if there's parents that we still have not heard from, I would urge you to, maybe they haven't responded to Class Dojo, maybe try sending home a note, maybe try a positive phone call, even if you're just leaving a voicemail for them. And also, I think that's important to remember that we also need to call some of our parents, even if their child's not a concern, just to touch base with them. Also having that timeliness. So if there's something going on in the classroom, maybe there was a concern that day or a child got hurt, making sure that we make it a priority to call that parent before the end of the day. This way, when that child comes home from school that day, the parent already has the information from the adult at the school and they know that was addressed. That could help a lot with some of the issues that parents might have, and also will help them calm any kind of fears, especially if something was going on with another student or that child got hurt. They know that the teacher is aware of it and that there were steps taken. Also having follow through with parents. So it's okay to say you don't know about something in the middle of a conference. It's okay to say, I don't have that information right now. It's okay to say, I'm going to get this resource for you. Just making sure that we are following through with those requests or things that we say that we're going to do that we do. If you need anything when you're working with parents, I can help you get that information. I can help locate the information that you might need. Also having clarity and usefulness of communication. So again, when a parent might bring something up to you, I like to parrot back to them and say, I understand what you're saying, or I can say, this is what I heard, or let me see if I have that correct, and then parrot back to them what you think that they just said to make sure that there isn't any miscommunication. The next thing we're going to talk about is parent conferences and discuss two resources that might be helpful for you. So having your message prepared, that helps ease some nerves that people might have when having parent conferences, and also make sure that that conference goes how you want it to go, especially if we're only meeting with parents a few times in the year. We want to make sure that when we are meeting with them, we're making best use of that time. Also providing work samples so that we're showing the parent how well that child is doing. We're showing the parent what goals or concerns that we might have. Instead of just telling them, hey, this is how they're doing, they're actually able to see. Having a balance of positive and negative things. So maybe having something positive, then showing some goals that you've developed with that child, or setting the goals with the parent right there, and then following up with something positive that's happening. Also discuss next steps. So after you discuss what goals there's going to be for that child, talk about what steps that you can take at school, what steps are going to happen at home, and make sure that everyone's on the same page and ensuring that child reaches that goal. I'm just going to briefly show you two resources that are available when you click on those links. The first one is a parent conference form. This is something that you can fill out before the conference and have it available to add any information that goes on during the conference. You can print out a bunch of copy of these and put them in a binder and maybe put this on the front of the binder. I know a few teachers have used this year and they really like it. And the second thing is right here, and it's similar to that first one, but it also has some reminders for parents about the conferences that you can send home. This way, if there's a parent that doesn't use Dojo or they don't respond best to Dojo, you can send this home, and it also has them in Spanish and English on here. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about Dojo. We're not going to spend too much time on this because I know a lot of us are already using it. But one important thing to highlight is that you can share your class story. This will just show up on your class's Dojo feed. And you can have pictures of things going on in the classroom. I know as a parent, I really enjoy seeing things like that, pictures of things going on in my child's class. Also, messaging. Remember, this does not give out your phone number. Remember that you can see if the parent saw that message and it shows you a little check and what time. You can also schedule messages. So if at 2 a.m. you remember something, but you don't want to send it out at 2 a.m., you can schedule it for a more reasonable time. Also, you can take a break and you can set quiet hours. So I know a lot of teachers said, I love Dojo, but I'm getting message all the time on Saturdays. If you want to shut it off for Saturdays or after hours, like at night, you can shut that off too. You can also provide feedback and the parents can see this feedback. Remember, we talked about not issuing negative points because we want to keep it as positive as possible for students and families. And then we're also going to talk about overcoming barriers. And that's going to be a good segue because Dojo does a really great job of having those languages available for parents. And I always like to see, parents, 10 parents translated this. I really like to see that because I can tell that our families are being reached despite any kind of barriers that there might be. The next thing we're going to talk about is this link right here, which is the translator. If you click on that link, this is also in our Google. And right here, when you click on that, that's going to give you a phone number to call. So if you're meeting with the parent, and you'll just call that phone number when you click on that link, and you can put it on speakerphone. You let them know what language you need, Portuguese or Spanish or whatever other languages you might need, and they will connect you with the translator, and you can put it on speakerphones. This way the parent can communicate with you and you can communicate with the parent. And also there's Transact. If you click on that, it will give you directions on how to log in. This has pre-done forms. So for this one, this is a field trip permission form and it's fillable. So you can fill in the information for the field trip. And then you can click on what language that you would need and it will translate it there. So they have a bunch of different forms, whether you work in the office, in the classroom, in the library. There's a bunch of forms on here that can be translated for fines or attendance and things like that. Okay. Now we're going to take a look at inviting parents in. So letting parents, not just communicating with them, but also having them come into the school, having some volunteer opportunities, having some parents come in and talk to your class as experts, also inviting them to class celebrations, like maybe at the end of a writing unit, doing some sort of celebration with your young authors and having parents come in to see that. Here's just some additional resources that are available for you when you're working with parents. I'm also available as a resource, and I have plenty of books and handouts and all kinds of things. And we don't want parents to leave our school empty-handed when they come in for conferences. So if you need a resource to send home with them, please let me know, and I can look through my things, or I can also locate some other resources for you. And then at the end of this, there is a survey, which I'm going to